There has never been one shred, one iota, one piece, nothing. There is no evidence that ties Warren, Morgan, or Jax to any crime because they did not commit a crime. They had
That
nothing
may very well
whatsoever
be
to
true.
do.
For more than a month, the young men connected to Nolan Wells' disappearance said almost nothing in public. Their names circulated online. Accusations piled up, and through it all their attorneys stayed quiet. Then, one night, that changed. Two veteran trial lawyers, Tyler Cox and Edward Pulsick, sat down on national television to answer questions about their clients Warren, Morgan, and Jax. Not a statement. Not a press release. A live, unscripted cross-examination. They came to defend three young men they call innocent. But by the end of the hour, they had also confirmed something else. How many questions in this case still don't have answers? This is what the lawyers said. What they were willing to answer, and what, even they admitted, they still don't know. According to the attorneys, the decision to go public wasn't about strategy. It was about survival. Pulsick told the show that, in the more than 30 days since Nolan Wells disappeared, his clients and others connected to the case had faced sustained online accusations, in-person confrontations, and what he described as credible threats, some resulting in arrests. Both lawyers said they believe Warren, Morgan, and Jax are innocent, and both indicated they were prepared to consider legal action against people they say have defamed their clients online. Cox put it plainly in his view, there has been no evidence, not one piece, tying his clients to a crime because, he says, they didn't commit one. That's their position. Not a verdict, a position. Offered under direct, pointed questioning from a former prosecutor.
There's never been one piece of
No, you
evidence.
did that to yourself, Pulsick, when
No,
you
we
said,
didn't.
here's the boat that day and he's not on it. That may very well be true. That may be
no,
absolutely
we
true.
Didn't, we
and
didn't
I'm
do that
saying,
to ourselves.
when was the video taken?
Well, no, I'm telling you
Around
that we have
4:30,
multiple,
July 4th.
Yeah, and I'm telling you another thing, Nancy. We have multiple witnesses, and we're going to protect their names on the air here. We're not going to air
I
out a
think you
private
should.
list of witnesses. We are. We're going to protect them. So I want to emphasize that as well.
The first question out of the gate was the one many viewers had been asking for weeks. Why haven't the friends taken polygraph tests?
My first question to clear up this matter, have your clients taken polygraphs? First to you, Tyler Cox.
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test. And I can tell you why. Because any lawyer worth their salt is going to tell their clients not to take a polygraph test under any circumstances. Two of my clients went in and made statements with me. We're not going to I'm not going to do a polygraph test because, one, as you know, they're not admissible in court. And so it wasn't going to be admissible anyway. You should never, ever, if you're a lawyer, allow your clients to take a polygraph test. Now, we allowed investigators from the jump to have access to their phones, their Life 360, everything. We have cooperated implicitly every step of the way. But no, they didn't take polygraph tests. But what I'll tell you is one of the other boys, who I won't mention their name, but I'm sure that you've heard, took one. The girl that Nolan was with took a stress analysis voice test, and so did the other boy. So that's the test they took. Both of them passed. And so, again, no lawyer worth of salt is going to tell his clients to take a polygraph test or anything like that.
But that answer created a wrinkle. Earlier in the broadcast, a different source, a YouTube personality who has interviewed one of the young men, had claimed that all of the friends except Warren had already taken a polygraph and passed. Confronted with that discrepancy, Cox didn't confirm it. Instead, he said two people connected to the case, described only as the girl Nolan was with, and another young man, had taken a separate stress analysis voice test, not a traditional polygraph, and that both had passed. So which version is accurate? The lawyers didn't fully resolve it on air. What they did make clear is that Warren, Morgan, and Jax gave investigators full access to their phones and location data from the very beginning. Cooperation, they say, should count for something, even without a polygraph. If the polygraph answer left questions, the next claim was, in the attorney's own words, the center of their entire defense. According to Cox, at least 2 people have come forward, independently of his clients, saying they saw Nolan Wells alive on Horn Island around 6:00 p.m. on July 4th. That's roughly 90 minutes after the boat carrying Warren, Morgan, and Jax is said to have left the island around 4:30 p.m. If accurate, the attorneys argue, it would place their clients off the island before Nolan was last seen, making it, in their words, impossible for their clients to have been involved.
So, Nancy, look, we have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, 2 confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th, well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30. And so those witnesses have went to investigators, they've talked to the police, and they've done what they're supposed to do. We've cooperated 100%.
The host pressed hard on the details. Did these witnesses know Nolan well enough to be certain?
Well, I'm not sure if the witnesses saw that picture that you just put on screen, but I can confirm to you that these witnesses know Nolan. They've known him for a long time. They were able to make a positive ID. And they told that to investigators. They told them that from the very start.
Had they been drinking?
That I do not know.
How are they sure it was 6 o'clock? Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking the questions I would ask in court. How do they know it was 6 o'clock? Did they go, oh, there's Nolan Wells at 6 p.m.?
Well, I'm pretty sure, Nancy, they were aware of the time. I'm not sure if they were drinking or not, but they're the ones that came forward to police and investigators, and that's their story to tell. What I'm telling you is they made a positive ID on Nolan Wells around 6 o'clock, and they told that to investigators, all while our clients were off the island around 4:30. So we have positive identification on Nolan on the island an hour and a half after our clients left. So, as you know from your experience as a prosecutor, they can't do 2 things at once. They can't be on the island at 6 o'clock and be on the boat gone off the island at 4:30.
The host then pressed on whether the witnesses knew each other and were together that day.
Here's my question to you. Are these witnesses friends of your clients?
I don't think they're friends, and they're not even the same age.
Okay. Next question. How many witnesses place him there on the island at 6-ish?
At least 2 that I know.
2. Do the witnesses know each other?
Yes.
Were they together that day?
Yes.
None of that means the witnesses are wrong. But it's exactly the kind of detail, shared accounts, no confirmed timestamp, an unknown drinking factor, that would be tested hard in a courtroom. According to the attorneys, these accounts have been given to investigators. Whether they hold up under independent scrutiny is, as of this broadcast, still an open question. For every claim the attorneys were ready to make, there was another where their answer was simply we don't know. The clearest example involved Nolan's autopsy. The host raised a specific detail, that the medical examiner had removed tissue from Nolan's neck, in addition to his lungs. She asked whether there had been ligature marks, bruising, or any sign of strangulation.
You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things are very interesting and probative. For instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed. Why his neck? The lungs and the neck were removed. which obviously Edward Pulsick touches on COD, cause of death. I understand why the medical examiner took his lungs. He had to run tests on them to determine, did he drown? Of course, all three of us know you can drown and there still be foul play. Somebody whacked you on the head. If somebody held you underwater, it could be any number of things. Or it could be an innocent drowning. But why the throat? What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was a hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
I'll tell you this. Listen, we're not coroners. We're not medical examiners. We want to know what happened to him just as much as everyone else. Quite frankly, more. Because Nolan was their best friend. Warren, Morgan, Jax. Nolan was their best friend. We want to know what happened. We haven't examined Nolan's body. We're not scientists.
I just thought maybe you had been somehow told why they took his throat. Okay, that's a note. We don't know why they took his throat.
It's worth noting that the specific detail about the neck was not something the attorneys volunteered. It came from questioning earlier in the broadcast and was put directly to them. And they didn't dispute that it happened. They simply couldn't explain it. The forensic search question produced a similar gap. Asked whether the boat their clients had been on, the Triton, had been searched by authorities. Cox said that to his knowledge, it had not, though he maintained it had been available to law enforcement the entire time.
I do not believe that it has been searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time. If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
Okay, I find that very interesting, Tyler, and I'll tell you why. In so many cases that I've prosecuted and covered and investigated, you see defendants, targets, trying to get rid of evidence. You see them cleaning the boat. You see them washing it down. You see them trying all sorts of methods to get rid of evidence. It's interesting to me and somewhat probative that your clients have offered the boat up to law enforcement to come.
Pressed further, had luminol been used or alternative light sources, or cadaver and scent dogs? Both attorneys said they were not aware of any of that happening. Cox noted that none of his 3 clients actually owns the boat, so questions about its condition would have to go to the owner.
Has alternative light sources been used on the boat? Has a cadaver dog come to the boat? Has a scent dog come to the boat? To your knowledge, either one of you.
To my knowledge, Nancy, I do not believe that has happened. But again, my 3 clients, either one of them, none of them own that boat. So if it has, you would have to ask the owners.
Tyler, do I look like I just fell off the turnip truck? Maybe I do, because we did sell turnips at the farmer's market when I was growing up. That said, you telling me my clients don't own the boat, so you'd have to ask the owner. Come on.
When the host pushed back, asking directly whether the boat had simply never been searched at all, Pulsick redirected the question back to law enforcement, saying it wasn't something his clients controlled.
If authorities thought that there was something to find on that boat, don't you think this far out they would have already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
if you believe there was potential foul play.
Just to say, I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any blood.
Well, Nancy, you're asking a valid... Hold on, you're asking a valid question. You're just asking the wrong people. That's a question for law enforcement.
To be clear, neither attorney claimed evidence had been destroyed, hidden, or tampered with. They said, specifically, that they don't know why a forensic search hasn't happened. Only that, as far as they're aware, it hasn't. The same pattern held for Nolan's phone. As of this broadcast, according to the attorneys, it has not been turned over to investigators. A detail they said had also been confirmed publicly the night before by attorney Ben Crump's legal team.
Anybody. Can
Today?
anybody tell me where Nolan's phone is?
Good
Right
question.
now, as we sit here today.
Has it ever been turned over to authorities?
No, it has not.
You're sure?
Yeah. I believe that Ben Crump, using local counsel, sent a letter out just last night, gave it to Don Lemon on his show, and Don Lemon on his show confirmed that they have not given the phone to investigators.
Cox responded that it's now on investigators to obtain it through a warrant or grand jury subpoena, if it hasn't been handed over voluntarily. And there is another part of the phone issue that matters. Both attorneys emphasized that their own clients allowed investigators to pull a full data dump from their phones. Location history, timestamps, everything, early in the investigation. They pointed to that cooperation as evidence of transparency.
We gave our phones up. We let them do a phone dump of our phones.
Which I find very, very interesting. Because a phone dump, everybody shows where the phone's been, what time it was there. It's not hard to do. It pings off phone cell towers, and you can tell as it progresses along. Not hard. Easy. And I find that probative because it will tell me when the boys went to Horn Island, the young men, and when they returned.
The lawyers also argued that what the case needs now is more evidence, not more speculation.
But I think it should be, and I think it should be asked for. Look, I am not stirring the Nolan Wells phone pot with you. I got bigger fish to fry with you two gentlemen. I'm just curious. I mean, wouldn't that put a lot to bed if we could look at the phone and look at the GPS tracker on it, look at the route? I mean, look, I know where my twins are right now because they got Live 360. Yay.
Nancy,
why can't we look at that? I mean,
Nancy, we want more evidence.
But even after that cooperation, questions remain about what evidence exists, what has been examined, and what still needs to be corroborated.
We know you're going to ask us tough questions, and we're happy to answer them as best we can. But one thing we've been very consistent about, there are so many things we don't know, right? We won't be able to answer all of your tough questions. And the reason we can't is because we just don't know the answer to a lot of them. But we do know what we know. We know they were off that island at 4:30. We know Nolan was on the island at 6. We just want to emphasize our humility in that regard because we just don't know, and we would love to know. We want to know how this tragedy happened as much as anyone, more than anyone.
Underneath every legal argument, every contested timestamp, every witness account, is an 18-year-old who went out on a boat on the 4th of July and never came home. Both attorneys said, more than once, that they want to know what happened to Nolan Wells as much as anyone. That he was, by every account they'd heard, a well-liked young man, and that their clients considered him a close friend. His family is still waiting. Whatever the truth turns out to be, it hasn't arrived yet. The lawyers have now given their side. They've challenged the assumptions that have surrounded their clients, explained why the friends did not take traditional polygraph tests, pointed to their cooperation with investigators, and defended the accounts they say support their innocence. But their appearance also exposed something important. Answering the accusations is not the same thing as solving Nolan Wells' death. Questions remain about the medical examination, the forensic status of the Triton, and Nolan's phone. The attorneys did not claim to have answers to all of them. In several cases, they openly said they didn't know, and that's where this case stands tonight. The lawyers have made their argument. Their clients have their version of events. Investigators have evidence that the public still hasn't seen. What happens next will depend on which parts of those competing accounts can actually be corroborated. Because Nolan Wells' family doesn't need another theory.
And my burning question at this hour is if those witnesses are telling the truth, that Nolan Wells was alive at 6 p.m., how did he die? Who was the last person with him?
They need answers. And if you want to follow this case as those answers emerge, subscribe. We'll be here when they do.